a journalist.
I'm a student.
I'm a teacher.
I'm a representative.
I have cancer.
The outdated laws of prohibition are more dangerous than the plant itself.
I lost my scholarship.
I was fired.
20 million arrests since 1965. This is getting ridiculous.
Our prisons are overcrowded with non-violent offenders.
We have the opportunity to change.
This is costing our country billions of dollars.
Making my family and I fight in a courtroom is difficult enough when I'm already fighting through chemotherapy.
There's no reason to be scared by tradition anymore.
We can stop this.
We can stop this.
We are the American people,
We can stop this.
and you have our support.
We're old.
Young.
Straight.
Gay.
We're every race and nationality.
And we're not going to give up.
You can tax it.
You can regulate it.
Apply age restrictions.
You can create millions of new jobs.
We can save our economy.
President Obama?
It's time for legalization.
Legalization.
Yes.
We.
Can.
This has been a public service announcement.
You're watching the Drug, Crime, and Politics show. I need less business. Help change the laws. Fewer people locked up for this foolishness will help all of us.
Hi, and welcome back to Drugs, Crime, and Politics. We're speaking here with Precinct 6 Constable Victor Trevino on current drug laws, measures, and what we as citizens of Houston can do. One of your big picture ideas that we are pretty much all in agreement here is that in order to make changes, especially in Texas, we're going to have to start at the grassroots level. And it is contacting your legislators, but really it's educating the populace, not just the people who are watching here, not just the people who are here calling in every week.
And I think the other thing is to have an understanding that when you have this conversation, please be fair and reasonable, that some people, maybe be turned off. They may first not accept what you're saying. If we use a little patience and strategy, I think that we can come across, because if we start giving them the facts that y'all have brought up, what has happened, are we making progress? And I tell people this story, this fact. In 1970, we had 280,000 people locked up in prisons throughout the country. And today we have over 2.5 million. Is that progress?
No.
Oh, come on.
It's not like people are necessarily more criminal.
But we've accepted it.
Exactly.
And I can understand, when we're talking about violent offenders now. I'm understanding that. But when you're dealing with offenses that have to do with... See, I look at our approach to improving the quality of life in 3 terms: prevention, treatment, and enforcement. And it comes in that order.
There's a triad.
In that order.
Exactly.
Prevention's got to be first.
So when you're talking about prevention, this is my big main question here. All right. So studies have shown, and many people have been through, and this is my kind of harping point, have been through the DARE generation. I'm going to start out with that. And it has been proven by studies and by DCP, which has stopped funding it, that it has actually had not only a negative effect, but a counter positive effect, in that kids who went through that program actually have an increased use of drugs. So my question to you is, and you go out, you have so many community outreach programs that are actually, focusing on keeping kids safe and things like that, and we're talking about keeping things open and honest and having a rational discussion. How do you think that, as a primary prevention measure and as a primary education measure, how do you think that kids who are constantly being used, their name is the war on drugs? We need to protect the kids. We need to protect the children from themselves. How would you address this situation to them?
I think in a more realistic approach, first of all, I think the issue, realistic meaning to say that it's almost the same as saying, we can't allow kids to start drinking at any age. We understand that. And the same thing applies to drugs. We can't have kids using drugs if they're 12 or 13 years old. We got to support that. That I'm not definitely. I'm not compromising that position, and all of us should agree on that. So when we implement it in the schools, the idea is to tell kids, if someone else is trying to get you to do drugs, you've got to understand what it can do to your body. So it's an educational issue, but at the same time, we got to also teach some compassion, because some of these kids may be going home where there is drugs involved. So we got to not teach the kids to disrespect their family or hate someone because they use drugs. So that is a turnoff when that happens.
Right.
And I think that was the problem with DARE.
Yeah.
Is that the way you're teaching it, the approach, it's like saying even in education, we're supposed to have one of the best educational systems in the world, but yet we have so many dropouts. What's happening? Well, we're supposed to have one. That's why everybody wants to come here.
Our educational system is such a joke. what we pretend to be an educational system is a babysitting service.
But I give you that. The fact is, we can do better.
We got to do better.
There you go. And I think our approach is that. Can we do better? Yes, we can. How can we improve it? But if we get into a dialogue where we bash each other, we have no progress. Because in the other side will bash the other side. So it becomes a bashing conversation, and there's no progress. Status quo. It stays status quo. So
What do you think we should do concerning marijuana laws medically here in Texas? You as a commissioner...
I believe that it should be left up to the doctor and the patients. The doctor and the patient should have some rights to deal with the medical use of it. You know,
and legislators shouldn't be involved in
politics should not be involved. That would be the first. I know you got a caller. Go ahead, take your caller. Go ahead.
Sure. Hi, welcome to Drugs, Crime, and Politics.
Hi, this is Tom Loud, the folk singer.
Tom, welcome.
Hey, Tom.
How are you?
Good evening.
Hi, I just wanted to ask the constable, just off on a tangent, one of the things I support is industrial hemp. One of the things hanging up industrial hemp is the myth that you can't tell the difference between marijuana and hemp. And honestly, sir, would your officers have any trouble distinguishing between an industrial hemp crop and somebody's pot plants?
Well, first of all, if we take an approach in law enforcement that we suspect something is an illegal drug, the only confirmation has got to go through the medical examiner's office that does the official test. So maybe, you know, I may not tell the difference, I may not know, but there's going to have to be someone that's more of an expert in that will decide that.
Tell me.
Because official charges are not filed just because the officer says, this is marijuana. Okay, we suspect it, and part of the investigation is that we got to have confirmation from those that are the experts.
Right.
So that's just, I think, to address his question.
Just out of curiosity, somebody like me, if one of your officers stopped me and I was on my way home, now like tonight, I'm going to try to score some marijuana on my way home. And let's just suppose one of your officers stopped me, looking like I do. I'm not, no guns, no anything else, and my taillight was out, and he smelled the weed in my car. Would you tell him to arrest me, or would you tell him to...
Well, first of all, you know, again, folks, and I think I can say this on behalf of all police officers, the officer has some discretion out there, but to some degree, there is no discretion. An officer, we're obligated to follow the guidelines that we took an oath to do. So to put an officer on the spot into because of a political battle, I don't think it's fair. I think, first of all, we have to understand that the political battle has to be fought without putting an officer in certain predicaments that we blame them. Because if the officer smells what he thinks to be marijuana, his next step is to investigate that. And that's his obligation.
That's his right.
If he doesn't do that, then he took an oath for nothing. He's gonna decide then that regardless of what the law is, I'll decide out here on the street, and